Hello, everyone. It's Margaret here with 60 and Me. How is your memory? I want to talk to you today about this topic. I think it is so important because, over time, I think our memories have slowly devolved, and so we can hardly remember our telephone numbers. But, we have a history of the process of memory being reduced to external areas. So, for example, we started off maybe with the printing press and books, having to write down our memories so that we could remember them. And then, of course, the computers came along, and we've got everything now is online, and then it all went on the cloud. So all of our memories, our pictures, our data is now somewhere even removed from our own computer. So we've got this gradual cultural movement towards outsourcing our memories to other places. Now, truthfully, if you asked me right now, here's $1,000, just tell me the three phone numbers, your son's and your grandson's phone numbers. I honestly could not do it. I could not do it. I would have to look on my phone. I'd have to look somewhere where I've written it down. I just honestly could not remember. I could not remember my phone numbers. Is it an inevitable aging issue? Is it something that you just lose your memory as you get older? Well, I don't think so. Now, Carrie Baker is one of our amazing bloggers, and they wrote about this whole idea of memory and how to make your memory stick. And there are some really interesting techniques and also observations about how memory is generated, and how we can do things to attach memories to kind of markers, and how that actually makes time slow down. Big order, but it's a really interesting and fascinating topic, and I want to chat with you about it. Now, in the olden days, people used to remember phone numbers. Admittedly, they were 8 numbers and 7 numbers, and and then 4, and that makes it a little bit easier. You can kind of group them: 222, 111, and in England they still say that. They say the numbers like 743, 33, 111. The double helps you to remember that there's 2 there instead of 33. But anyway, there's no, according to Carrie, when there's no markers though, we don't need to remember these things. We've got a dependency now on our phones and on our our external drives, but time seems to be moving so fast. So how can you actually start to remember things? Now, for example, she talks about do you remember, for example, if I asked you right now, what were you doing last Tuesday? Don't look at your calendars, don't look at your computer, just what were you doing last Tuesday? Probably couldn't remember. You might remember they had a dentist appointment or a hair appointment, or something. But then it's all about the practice. It's all about taking those markers, or what do they? I forget what she calls them now. It's not markers, maps, webs, memory webs of actually creating a web that has memories attached to it. So, for example, I went to the doctor. I went to the hairdresser, and I saw, I remember I was wearing that dress or that outfit. I stopped by the shop to buy something, for dinner. And that was the day that I tried an Indian recipe. You actually start to associate memories around an event that you did, something that you did last week, and then your memory comes back to you. It starts to, like the colors, it starts off being like a paint by number, no color picture, and then you slowly start to add the detail. I bumped into this person, we talked about this, we had a coffee, we were planning to get together for dinner. It's like everything starts to build around this map, this web. And I think this is an interesting way to think about your childhood, for example. So one of the things that Carrie suggests is to go back in your memory and remember your childhood, and think about the house you lived in. Think about where the rooms were. Think about, was there a porch? Where were the windows? Where was your bed in the room? Where did you have your dinner? What was the living room like? How did you have a TV? Did you watch or listen to the radio? What did you do in that house that has a memory associated with it? Did you have a friend that came over and visited often? Did you, were your favorite? One of mine is curling up in a corner with a book. I had a book peeled to my arms the whole time that I was growing up. But basically, the more we can remember, the slower that time passes. Now, I know this is kind of a weird one, but I think it's really interesting that monotony, according to Carrie, collapses time. It just all blends into one. Last Tuesday, I went to the hairdresser. You've got no map associated with what happened on that day, on the things that you did on that day or that you can remember. So basically, monotony and boredom and repetitive activities actually stop memory. They actually make time basically slow down or speed up, because it's a blur. But how do you make memories and time slow down so that you can appreciate them more and have more of a rich experience. Well, of course, what she talks about, Carrie talks about, is actually creating new experiences. It's in creating new experiences, doing new things, traveling, exploring new passions, trying new hobbies, investigating, reading new books that you haven't read in a subject you've never read. Those kinds of things extend time because they fill your mind map with a whole list of things rather than just, I went somewhere and did this. So your mind map becomes more complex and more interesting and, more, it stretches time. Time seems to last longer. And it's interesting. I remember reading, I think it was Tony Robbins that was talking about the 7 or 6 basic human needs. And we have a need, first of all, for certainty in our lives. We have to feel like we're secure and safe and, not hurting, we're in pleasure mode. But also that the second thing is that we have uncertainty. And I remember when I read those 6 things, it was like, that really makes sense. It really does. The uncertainty, the unexpected, the surprise, the serendipity, the things that happen completely by chance are the things that you remember. And you need that in your life. You need that, those experiences. And one thing, of course, that you can do to get those new experiences is to travel. And I've known all my life that I've loved to travel, and that I've just always just jump on a train at any excuse, any reason, or just go to an unusual new place. And I've talked about this a lot on 60andMe, about going to a new town or into the next village, and just having a cup of tea in a place you've never been before. But I didn't realize why I was suggesting that, and I see it now. I see it that I have this very strong desire to make the most of time in my life. I don't want to see time whizzing by and not have any memories of my life. And so in order to experience this kind of sense of time stretching and having longer on this planet, is to actually start doing things that give you new experiences, that give you the chance to do things for the very first time. So the more experiences you have, travel, hobbies, dancing, activities, volunteering, it doesn't have to be travel. Anything that you do actually gives you more associations. And the more associations you have with that experience, the longer time seems to go. So the more associations you create, the more you have to remember. And so when you're remembering more things, your time is stretching out because you're just going through it, methodically, systematically. And so she talks about, it's very interesting about the pandemic. And you think about that as being a negative thing because we were staying in and there was no social activity. We weren't out there traveling and getting new experience. But one of the things that can be observed is that it was a time of newness. If you stop to think about it, we did so many things for the first time. Wearing masks, cooking our own food at home, making do with things that we couldn't get out to purchase in the shops, talking to people on Zoom calls and in social media ways. I did these Facebook Lives. Anything you can do in those 2 years. In a way, 2020 is going to be probably one of the most memorable years of our life because we remember so many things that we did for the first time. That's really, really cool, actually. So have you ever had the feeling that time was going too fast for you? That, is it already July? What happened? It happened to June, May, and you just don't remember? Well, maybe one thing to consider is that you didn't have enough associations in those months before that stretched the time for you. Do you feel personally think about the pandemic, do you feel that time moved more slowly or that it moved more quickly? That's really, really interesting. I think for me, it moves slowly. And which is, in the sense of remembering and memories and life journeys, is the better way. So I think that's an interesting question to ponder. So what new memories have you made this month? It's early in the month, but tell us. I hope that this has been useful. Thank you, Carrie, for writing this article. I actually really got a kick out of it, and I actually learned a lot and validated a lot of my own thinking and my own being with it. So I hope that you found the same. Anyway, have a really wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're doing today. Make the memories. Whatever you do today, attach lots of associations to it, and tomorrow you'll wake up feeling like it was a beautiful, long, stretched out, gorgeous day with lots of things to remember. Your memory will work for you. Okay, everybody, well, take really good care. Have a fabulous day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now. Whoops.